Galva a lot about the shortstop
Yep.
situation, so might as well get your take on it too. He's kind of referenced the extra work you guys have put in on maybe improved fielding, that sort of stuff. So just how much have you seen that group of guys kind of commit to wanting to fill that role and improve?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of their willingness to work and improve, it's been great. I mean, they're all awesome kids, and I've really, of course, we took some time right in the fall, early part of the fall, to figure out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And obviously, as you get out and recruit them, you feel like you have a pretty good idea of it. But until you get a chance to work with them every day, and then you see it, you figure it out. So really took some time after the fall to get with some of those guys one-on-one that are maybe new to the program and just kind of go to work with what they needed to do, we felt like. So it's interesting, they're all different. All those guys out there that are working, they're all very different in terms of what their strengths and weaknesses are. So it's just about identifying them. But they've done a great job. They've done a great job taking the information, going to work, and really over that 4-week stretch of December, they have to do it on their own. So you kind of give them that blueprint for what they need to work on, and they've come back. But once you all get a chance to meet all those guys, you'll see they're really neat kids, and they're just going to work every single day, and their interactions with each other, right? They're out there competing, and it's one of those jobs that's doesn't Zach being out there or Ryder being gone, those situations, they know it's open, and they're competing every day, but going about it in the right way and being good teammates at the same time. So it's been fun to work with all of them, and long time between now and opening day, obviously.
How have you seen maybe Barini in particular grow? Because he's been here a couple of years now, and maybe we don't talk about him enough, just as kind of a key guy off the bench, but now could be in that mix as well.
For sure. I mean, Joey is the thing about Joey is he's pretty quiet. He's pretty reserved. So, but you guys have all seen players that have been in the program, and how much that impacts them, just being in the program, knowing coach's expectations, and knowing what to do every single day. And I know Coach and I just referenced those sophomore pitchers, and I've always said, when you look back at some of the players that have come through the program in our time here, the Connor Norbies of the world, and even like a Jacob Starling last year, right? Just having that year under their belt it's huge. And so Joey's had a couple, and some of those other guys out there, they're going through it for the first time. And I just think, he's come back, especially here over the last few weeks, and just done a really, really good job of showing up at practice, and kind of taking his game to another level. And really with that position, it just comes down to consistency, right? You look at our guys, Turner Browns and Ryder Giles, Zach Agnos, those guys have run out there, and you just pretty much knew what you were getting, every single day. And of course they made their mistakes at times, not many of them, but when they did, they didn't really compound those things. And sometimes that can be hard for young players, right? And Joey, I think, has done a nice job of just continuing to show up every day. He shows up every day, he works hard, and steadily, we talk about getting 1% better every day. Well, that kid's been doing that a long time, and you're starting to kind of see the results of just the work he's put in. He's been really consistent. So again, we'll get into the next 3 weeks and go play, and practice is one thing, going out and doing it when you got 3 weeks to opening day, and the speed of the game picks up, and all those factors become a little bit more relevant. You kind of see how they handle it. So, but Joey's done a great job.
Is there something to be learned or shared from his mindset, Joey's mindset, of just maybe he doesn't start, but he seems to come through in all the opportunities he's given?
For sure, yeah. I mean, Coach references it all the time, and I think that it's really, as a coach, it's great because it gives you, right, you're always talking about, hey, stay ready, and I think in our program, maybe a little bit more relevant than some others, the way Coach, uses the bench, and really, whether it's a late substitution defensively in the outfield or a pinch runner going the game. I mean, you don't have to be in this program real long to realize I better be prepared and I better be ready. So, I think, but that said, when Joey goes out there and gets big pinch hits, and you look back already over the course of the career, how many starts he's had, maybe versus how many big impactful at-bats, right? So that ratio just kind of, hey, you always have to be ready, and to your point, it shows, hey, when you show up and you work every single day, in some ways, of course, Joey wants to be out there as much as he possibly can, like all of our guys, but you wouldn't necessarily know it, the way he goes about his work, the way he carries himself. He just stays prepared, and as a coach, it's great to see those guys have success because, that's going to motivate the other guys. But the reality is that's life, right? He's deserving of success, and that's really, you want them to kind of walk away saying, hey, in all aspects of my life, I put in the work, even though I'm not getting the results. The coach tells the guys this all the time, may not be tomorrow, but you're going to get an opportunity and you're going to be prepared for that opportunity. And more times than not, good things are going to come your way.
Coach Cliff talked a little bit about how NIL and the transfer portal makes it maybe even more difficult to cultivate a team first kind of ethic. How does that change the way you lead or do your job, or has it?
I think in all reality, it starts with coach, and coach does a great job of just laying the foundation and the expectations of the program. And I think our older guys really help with that. Our older guys and this group as a whole, just my personal opinion, I would say the 2017 group, I really, really enjoyed coaching. They just went about their work in a certain way. And, I've told a lot of people, I feel this group has a lot of similarities in the way that they're approaching, the 18 group, and the way they're approaching their, the work, right? We had a tough year in 17, and that 18 group just kind of went about their business in a really mature way. And I feel this group has done the same thing, but I think it starts with coach, and then it kind of works its way down to some of those older guys. And you look at this core group of older players that have been in the program, the Hoovers, the Spiveys, the Sailors. They've just been around the program long enough to understand that when you go about things in the right manner and you treat people with respect and you go about in a selfless way, it's going to filter down to the rest of the team. So although, with the NIL and those guys coming in through the transfer portal, I think it's still at least within our program where those guys come in and they realize pretty quickly, this is how it's going to go here, and it's been this way for a long time, and the results have been pretty darn consistent and pretty darn successful. So not going to change, and obviously that comes from coach, but that's not going to change. So either they're going to conform to how we go about things and how we do things, or it's going to be, you're going to kind of be working uphill a little bit on trying to get out there on the field and get the opportunity to help us. So, that's culture, right? That's really what culture is. And I'm sure coaches talked about that a lot. That's why we feel like we've had such consistent success.
Coach, you've had other opportunities maybe to be a head coach somewhere else. You've chosen to stay here, and you're one of the few guys who's been here the whole time. Cliff, just what has led to that relationship working so good, and why do you like ECU so much? Why do you love this place, not want to leave it?
Yeah, that's a it has a lot of layers to it, but number one, it's this place. It's everything about what we do, right? When you talk about college baseball and you talk about just the opportunity to do it every single day and what we put into it, and then you have a fan base that's as passionate about the fan base here and what they put into college baseball. That is, for myself and my family, we're year 9, and I'm just as excited about what we're doing here as I was in year 1. And so it's just something y'all have been here and you realize how passionate this fan base is. It's really exciting to be a part of that. Number one, look, really when it comes down to it, we're extremely happy with what we're doing here, and we have not necessarily achieved the goals that we want to achieve here, and that's a piece of it, is that we've been very close to getting to Omaha and winning a national championship, and firmly believe that we can accomplish those goals, and we haven't been able to do that. I enjoy working here. I enjoy our coaching staff and Coach Godwin and what he's provided myself and my family, and the opportunities to do a job here and have a big impact in what goes on in the program. So all of those are layers to it, and obviously there's a number of personal factors that go into that as well. But we love Greenville, we love the community, love the baseball program, and certainly when you have all those things in alignment, you're not necessarily in a rush to jump on out of it. So as much as I'd love to be a head coach, in a great spot.
Coach kind of said earlier, I think tongue in cheek, that he has no clue what kids these days are interested in. But as you move along and you're still a young man, but older. And,
Don't feel like it.
Do the pitches or the conversations, has it like changed over the years, or is it still the basic recruiting pitch when you talk to kids now?
Yeah, I think it certainly evolves. You know, well, it evolves in a lot of ways because of the tradition has grown here. You know, what we've been able to achieve, and so anytime you're selling a winning, successful product, I think that is very helpful. Now, the younger that we've had to recruit over time, the less that becomes maybe a factor in terms of what, you know, every family is different. Every player is different. So just being able to identify what it is that they value, you know, what it is that's important to that family, while at the same time staying true to what we are, right? Because at the end of the day, when they show up here on campus and they get here to move into the dorm that summer, you don't want them coming under false pretenses of what they think they're coming to, because then it's not going to work, you know. And I tell every family, every player that, and I think y'all know Coach Godwin well enough to know that he's gonna tell you exactly what we are and what the expectation is going to be once they arrive. And I tell them we're looking for three things: talented players that can help us win championships, players that are committed to their academics and doing as well as they can, and good people, and really have tried to stay pretty true to that, you know, because I tell them if we can get 35 to 40 players in the locker room that have those characteristics with what coach has established and what we've been able to do in terms of just building the foundation and developing them as people when they're here, we're going to have success, and we're not going to have too many issues. You know, of course they're 18 to 22 year olds, so they're going to make mistakes, and you know, but I think when you look at the track record of success, academic success, how the community feels about, you know, the group of players that are in this building, you know, we've been pretty successful with that, and just tried not to stray from it. Now, understanding what makes them tick and what they want as well. Of course, when you're recruiting them, you're always trying to hit home with those things and trying to get them to really just truly understand what this place is all about. You know, going back to Steven's question, you know, I want them to feel what I feel. And if I can, the sooner we can get their families to understand, and getting them here to see game days and all those things are really important, because then they get a chance to kind of see it in person. So we try our best to, you know, bring that to them as much as we can, you know, and but at the same time, it's trying to figure out what's important to them and trying to get them over here to see how special this place is.
Anything else for Coach?